I'm Grace Bozza. I'm a working actress for about 5 years now, and I've worked on a lot of different types of films. And this one was for sure one of my favorites. I had a lot of fun with the cast and the crew, and it was just a meaningful, message behind the film in itself. So it was a lot of like different experiences. And my favorite thing about it is that I actually got cast as something completely different what I normally wouldn't get cast as. So it was definitely a fun experience. Okay, so the audition process was actually very different, and this to date is still the only audition that I've experienced this way. That we had all of the cast and other people that were auditioning um, audition in front of everybody and see the way that everybody would read the character and stuff. So that was pretty cool. I actually really liked that because then you get to pick up on things that maybe you wouldn't have read that way. So I initially auditioned for Junior's wife, and I actually got something completely different. I got a Specials Force unit, the Nano One, I believe I was called. The badass role, so I didn't mind getting that one. Describe the Nano role. So the Nano role was a tough role. She was a tough leader of her group, and she just was very overprotective of the main character. She wanted things done a certain way. She took initiative. She was in charge. She was a boss, and she got things done. So I really enjoyed playing that role. Did I have to get special training for the Navy SEAL element? Yes, I did. I actually ended up going to the scuba place, I believe. He was a great guy. He teaches lessons there, and he was showing me all the types of dry suits and wet suits, and he was showing me how to breathe in and how to hold my breath and what to do with the mask and the mouthpiece and how to, actually scuba dive. And he was actually on the actual set with me to make sure that I did everything correctly and to feel safe and stuff. So that was also really cool and really fun. How did I prepare myself mentally and physically for the part? So mentally, I'm actually pretty good at memorizing, so I would make sure I get all the lines, and then I would work the emotion into it, practice in front of the mirror to see my facial expressions. I would annoy my sister to practice and rehearse with me all the time to make sure my facial expressions and the lines were right. I would even practice with the actors that I had the scenes with on set beforehand. We would critique each other, maybe give each other advice on what to do. So that's how I mentally prepared. Physically, I would say just the training that I actually got with the professionals was the way that I physically, before actually shooting and on set too, they were also there, so they would go over everything with me again physically, and that was definitely very helpful.
What was the most challenging part of the film for you?
What was the most challenging part of the film for me? Hands down, being in the water. Thank God, I have to say, you got me that dry suit because I don't know if it would have been possible. I actually had to go in like ice cold water. It was literally ice, and the whole you and all the crew actually had to take, I think, what was it, sledgehammers to actually just chip away at the ice so I could go into the water. That's how cold it was. But I made it through. I survived, and it was definitely an experience. And I know it's gonna look really cool, so it was worth it. The story takes place in parallel worlds, and where does my character spend most of his time? Her time. I'm not calling myself a man. Um, So my character definitely spends the entire time in, you know, the main character's head, basically. Um, Basically, going through. My character shows kind of what is going on in someone's head when they're basically unconscious, or like what we could imagine is possibly happening, and trying to, definitely not in the real world. It's in someone's head, and just trying to portray it the best way that we see what's actually going on during a situation like that. So take you guys through the sequence where I lead, basically into Junior's home. That was very eventful. So it's basically coming out of the water and, searching, making sure no one is, like people that are a threat basically around, and going up the stairs with the guns and in the dry suits, was definitely a workout and a challenge. And then going inside and actually trying to rescue Junior and doing the whole, not sure if I'm allowed to say this, but like the whole shootout inside the house. It was definitely very fun, to just, be whipping around like the gun and, doing all these crazy maneuvers to try and help the main character, because it's just totally different from what I would normally do on a daily basis. So it was a lot of fun. Tell us what it was like in the woods. So the woods experience was definitely all over the place, but we were running around through the woods, and we had the guns, and we had to hold it the certain way that we were taught, and I always had to keep that in mind, and in the dry suit too. So it was, running away from the bad guys. There was a fight sequence in there too with one of the bad guys. So a lot actually took place in the woods, and I think we definitely just brought that to life, the whole wood sequence, and just, you would never imagine things like that happening in the woods. What do I want an audience to take away from my part or the film in general? I want them to see that this is actually, people struggle with this, on a daily basis, and a situation like cancer really can ruin someone's life, and have their loved ones distraught. So people, like, your loved ones really do care about you and want to see you do well. That's why they're telling you to go, check out what's wrong with you, so it doesn't get to that point. And a lot of people just don't think it could happen to them, so they're like, I'm fine, I don't need the doctors and stuff like that, but you never know, so that, and my character in itself, I think brings a lot to the film, because it's just, I'm the tough person on someone. I'm the one